I know for the longest time he's been in the Vikings, but now he's now in the neutral zone. Wood War, changing the Trent a bit. He's an awakened unit. He's gaining +4 attack and +2 movement. I would say if you've used Trent before, I would throw this in there with the awakened deck. It's definitely a good early card to have. Good defense, especially for 4/7. Beheth Mothra. I call it Bethmara. Behethmara? Whatever. Behethmara is another powerhouse to your monster deck. It has an ability similar, as you can see, to the City Colossus. When a monster is played, no matter who, you're gaining +2 attack and health every time a monster is played. So it definitely is another powerhouse. It has the same gold cost as Colossus. I would get rid of this thing as fast as you can if you're on the opposing side of it. Blacksmith, now a neutral. Your units gain 1 attack. I don't know if that's a support or if that's just in general, but that's about it for Blacksmith. It's 2/2. Not much else going on with you there, buddy. Cultist. Cultist is nothing new about him. He's got flying, and I think it's a health reduction of 1/3, so Cultist. Elvish Hunter, you've seen this on the forums, you know of its ability, and you've probably self-debated whether or not this is a good card. If my opinion say this card may not be worth it throwing into the deck because of you're adding a random unit costing 3 or less. Personally, I don't like to give my opponent any other cards that they don't need. If you do and have no problem with it, go ahead. Elvish Hunter has some pretty decent stats for it, and that kind of makes up for the ability, but I personally just don't like giving my opponent cards, which is why I won't be playing this as much. Faithful Drake. Flying. When slain, well, yeah, he's the same. Flux Daves. Or if I'm pronouncing it. But if you've played Crashlands, this familiar face is now coming into the world of C&C. As you can see here, it is now found through the Crashland promotion. That will be explained more later. I can't get into too much detail about that right now, but just be aware that that may be coming soon. Its ability, though, its Harvest, it's kind of a nice play on it if you actually played the game. Each time Flux attacks, add 2 random spells costing 2 less to your hand. I almost forgot about that ability. 3/6 isn't really bad for it either. Maybe for those spell decks, you like to keep a Flux in there, but other than that, it's nice to see that they're getting other game crossover cameos in here. Moving on, Guardian has been reduced to a 3 gold, 6 health unit. Not much going on with you. Pumpkin no longer has a lifesteal, still has a flying, 6/1. That's some bold early game right there. Kaijir, this little buddy, you've probably seen him on the forums too. Kaijir, 3/5, no special ability. It's a monster, I guess, so playing that Bethmara or Colossus combo can affect where Kaijir comes in. Mage Apprentice. Mage Apprentice has an awakening ability now. Add a random spell costing 2 or less to your hand. It used to be a Warlock. It's not losing health anymore, and its 1/3 attack is kind of okay, I guess. If you're using some spell decks, this is a good card to throw in there as a little side. Missionary. Now, originally the Priest. Now 3 gold, 2/3 unit, and when played, heal your allies for 2. I would say the Missionary is sort of like a nerf on the Priest. You're no longer giving your units more health or more shield, similar to Blacksmith. Kind of taking that attack away and that health away from them. Rileytown. You're adding 3 Filthy Peasants to your hand. It's now really a neutral spell. That's all I can say about this card. You used it. If you use it with the new Filthy Peasant ability, it may be good for Horde decks. Salwar Soldier. It's got a greed ability. Activate this ability each time you gain 1 gold. It does not apply to the standard gold gained at the turn begin. 3-5, not bad stats. If you use a greed deck, I would throw maybe 1 or 2 of these guys in there as some mid-game units. Going on with the Scout now. The Scout, I can only say, has been changed. He's now a 2-attack, 6 health unit. Not much going on. Sniper. When played, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. He's not losing that attack. I don't know if his range... I think his range has been reduced. Other than that, I think he's more of a... just an archer with an ability. Suit of Armor has been buffed. It's still not moving for all of you who hope that it will move one day. Suit of Armor is still immobile, but its stats of 12 health, 8 attack really show... Sure. Give me 1 moment. Sorry about that. Yeah, well, we have someone to play a match with now, so that's good. Where were we? Sorry. Suit of Armor. Immobile, awaken, gain attack. He's good with the Winds of the Nord and all that still. His health buff will make him harder to kill. Armory, now a neutral, gain 1/1, 4 gold, 3 health. What's going on there? Bear Hog. Still a neutral creature. It's 4 attacks, 7 health, make it sort of a decent mid-game unit. Other than that, 4/7. Don't really got much else to go on there. Centaur, you've seen this guy lurking around the AI too. Centaur is a 2/8 for movement, no special ability whatsoever. He's I think a tougher scout because of that health buff. Oh, I'm sorry guys, but other than that, Centaur is there. Dancing Swords, flying, awaken, gain +1 attack. That's about it. He's been nerfed. Dancing Sword has been nerfed. He got a health buff, but a ability nerf. Dragon Temple. Dragons gain 1/2. Making a neutral kind of puts it in the category of going into any faction. Earth Knight. Knockback 1, buff at 5/7 attack health. Fencer. Fencer is similar to the Master of Arms. It no longer has its disarm ability, and when played, it gains 2 attack through your next turn. 3/6 attack stat. It's okay. I like the disarm ability because it was new, it was interesting, but now that you're getting rid of that, I guess it's kind of a dead mechanic. I don't know what's going on with that. Grave Stalker. Awaken, add a random undead unit to your hand. It's like a buff toward the undead faction. You're giving them another undead unit to use. Nalakir Ajira. If I even pronounced that right, I have no idea. This card is another extremely risky draw. It's 4/5 for 4 gold. That's not bad, but its ability, when played, each player adds 2 random monsters into their hand and they cost 2 less. It's another one of those cards that kind of give your opponent something to work with, which I personally think it's a bit deadly. I don't want to say that it's bad entirely, but you know, giving your opponent cards is always not a good thing, and if they're monsters, that kind of puts the situation even worse. Red Drake. It is the Fire Drake has been turned neutral, flying, chain of 2, 3/4 for 4 gold. That's about it. Talabos. Greed, deal 1 damage to all nearby enemies. This is definitely going to be a good greed card to have. You guys are going to play the greed deck. I would think it's a good card. I have it, and I'll show you how it will work in a combo. Wizard. Wizard has been nerfed. It no longer has teleport, and its stats have been changed to 2/2. When played, deal 1 damage to a random enemy 2 times. It's like a weaker Chaotic Storm ability, but the wizard is a mage nonetheless, and he can be put into the mage archetype combo. What's that same wizard? Thor Night. Thor Night. Thor Night. This card, when it's attacked, it adds a random unit costing 2 or less to your hand, but that's kind of like, in my opinion, a bit chance-like. You're hoping that it gets attacked, which is the thing, so I would say it's pretty risky to add to your deck. It's a Knight card, though, so I threw it in there with my Knight archetype, just to see how it works. Gar Night. When played, heal your castle for 2 at a 4/5 attack stat for 5 gold. It's not bad. Not bad at all. Green Drake. Same thing as Poison Drake, except it's now a neutral. And its health been reduced. Grendel. This big guy is a bit fun to use, especially if you're running an undead deck. He is basically one that you must run if you're running an undead. When slain, add a zombie to your hand. Its attack and its stats, though, kind of make up for its pretty decent ability. So, I would say this card is definitely worth it to be in an undead deck. Moving on to Judge. Judge is now, well, what used to be Lionel, the Arbiter, is now Judge. When played, deal 3 damage to a random enemy for 4/3 stats at 5 gold. I would say it's weak removal in my opinion, because you're hoping that you can get him out in time and have him people damage enough to just deal 3 damage and boom, that would be it. Same with Manfish, honestly. I think the Judge and the Manfish have the same ability, and they have no archetype, so it kind of just puts them in the same category. If you've seen Manfish around, he's also another one of the cards that's been stalking the AI lately in the regular. I would say him and Judge share the same ability, really. Sentry Golem has not changed. Swordsman has not changed. Marauder, what used to be the Barbarian, is now the Marauder. Its Greed is gaining Rampage this turn at 5/6 for 6 gold. It uses that Greed ability now. You're not getting Rampage right away with this card. You're not. You have to have some sort of Greed with it, which is why if you have a Greed deck, Marauder would be the perfect choice to put in. Now, as we were mentioning earlier, the Minotaur Strike, you've worked with these cards, the Minotaurs. You've maybe seen some artwork for them lurking around on the forums. The Minotaur is a 6/4 unit for 6 gold. It's got 4 movement, I would say. It's a dangerous scout. And it works well with that Minotaur Strike card, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Stone Drake, health nerfed 6. Ace and City Guard, what was once Legionnaire, now is the City Guard. Its Pierce ability is still with us, but now when played, heal your castle for 5. It's like an improved Garden Knight for 5/6 stats. It's not a bad unit to throw in there if you want to keep some health on your castle. You've probably seen this big bad boy on the forums, King Kaiju. A nice little play on Godzilla there. When slain, add a Kaiju to your hand. Now, those little guys that we saw earlier, those are basically what pop out of destroying this guy. So you have to be ready for a little Kaiju once you destroy King Kaiju. Ogre Thief. Ogre Thief is a nice card to have with this Greed archetype. I like it. I use it. It gains 2 gold after attacking. It's definitely, in my opinion, worth to have in a deck for working with gold. But it's an epic, so we'll see how we could pull it. You've probably seen this guy lurking around on the